I loved rehab. Everyone go to rehab. If you need to go to rehab, go to rehab. It was fabulous.
Wow.
Literally, like, I became like that girl in rehab that would be like, hi, like, I'm Jenna. You're going to love it here. What's your drug of choice? Like
The greeter, the welcome committee.
Literally, it was me. Like, we get to do puzzles on Wednesdays.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Made It Out. Today I'm here with the incredible, the hilarious Jenna Brown, and we are talking about her journey to overcoming addiction. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Of course. Can you tell me about baby Jenna? What was your family structure? What was your upbringing like?
Baby Jenna, wow, what a girl. Baby Jenna was very dramatic, very exciting, a little talented. She was like a very little opera singer girly, very musical theater girly, a little bit nerdy. I was a lot to handle as a kid, but I also feel like in a way I wasn't a lot to handle. My parents just had my sisters before me and they were very like rule following Hufflepuffs. You know what I mean? So when I came out as like a little sexual Slytherin, they were a little bit confused on how to handle me. And so I definitely had an interesting upbringing in terms of like, I was very blatantly the black sheep of the family. I felt very misunderstood during my childhood. My sisters went to college obviously before I did. And then I spent most of high school alone. And during that time, I was really understanding my like lesbianism. But yeah, Southern Indiana was a very different place. It's weird to have had 18 years of my life in one house in Bloomington, Indiana, and then move out to Los Angeles and have the last 12 years be here in a completely different environment with a completely different identity.
What was it like coming out to your family then, your parents?
Oh my
and
God.
Your siblings?
Well, actually, I'm really lucky in the fact that both my sisters are gay. So it's 3 for 3 in the Brown family. I think we got really strong traits from my dad's side of the family. It's just a gay ass side of the family. I'm so lucky. Honestly, if that wasn't a thing, I feel like I would be much more like ostracized from my like immediate and extended family. So like both my sisters, Lily came out first. She came out to me on the swing set at home in Indiana in 2012. And I immediately said, well, yeah, it's obvious. And she was like, oh, okay. So that was very like comforting because even though like I immediately said, oh yeah, I can tell, blah, blah, blah. Inside, I was like, thank God. Oh my God. Like I feel
Because you knew that you were.
I've known that I was into girls since I was like 6.
Yeah.
Like forever.
Yeah.
I've been a very sexual kid my whole life and I kind of knew. So I always kept it like really deeply buried. It was like my biggest secret. I would never tell anyone, like no matter what kind of games we would play or the times I'd be like, we should play spin the bottle. I was like, no, I'm never going to tell. But when Lily told me, I was like, oh, that's really... That makes me feel so much better. And then about 3 months later, my sister Lauren came out, who's the oldest.
Oh my gosh, wild.
Yeah. It was kind of scary at that time because both of them had come out and my parents had reacted. Well, my dad was kind of okay with it, but he doesn't wear the pants. My mom does. My mom was very, very, very not okay with it. And it not necessarily was religious based. It was more just like, you know, social pressure based. Like her family was really like grossed out by it. She was disgusted by it. She has like this big fear of the judgment of others. Like she's a very big people pleaser, which has had a lot of an effect on me. But in that way, she felt very uncomfortable with us being gay. So at that time it was like, oh, well, Jenna, you're the only one we have left. Like, thank God you're here because everyone else is blah, blah, blah. And to me, the day that my sister Lauren came out, I had just had sex with the rugby captain.
Shut up.
Yeah, the night before. And I had a Glee Club performance that day and I cried.
This is
so
the gayest story ever. Glee Club? Like what?
I know.
Okay.
Come on. Crazy. But I had like a Glee Club performance that day and I got so nervous and I like cried and threw up because I was like, I can't tell them this. Like they're going to freak out. And then when I finally did, my mom was like, you're lying. You're so feminine. You've always liked Justin Bieber. Little did she know that liking Justin Bieber is step 1 of lesbianism.
Yes.
I mean, hello. Come on. It's literally point blank obvious. That's like how it works. She was very confused. She was like, you had that crush on the tenor in your choir. I'm like, that man is a lesbian.
That That man is gayer than I am.
That man has been gay this whole time, and you just couldn't tell. But eventually I kind of convinced her. It took a while, but I didn't really talk to my mom for like a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is high school?
No, I came out in college.
College,
I was
okay.
like not going to come out in high school. There was like 2 out gay people in my school of like 2000. Like no one was out.
Wow.
This is back in the millennial high school days.
Yeah, tough. It was rough for lesbians.
It really wasn't fun.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens after college? We're here to talk about kind of drug use. I know we've gotten a lot into
Drug use? I would never. What do you mean? I'm innocent. Mel.
Like, tell me about your drugs, Jenna.
What do you mean? What? Women are drugs, Mel. Women are drugs.
So we're in college. When did you start to experiment with drugs?
So my senior year of college, after my long relationship with a rugby player, I met this woman, Erica. Erica was my first like dangerous, abusive relationship. Very like they were bipolar. They had a lot of undiagnosed mental illnesses and a lot of just gaslighting. I mean, every bad thing that you hear in therapy, that was happening. Mm-hmm. During that relationship, like they had an Adderall Connect. Actually, their psychiatrist was their Adderall Connect. So I was using so I guess they were my Connect. But I started kind of using Adderall to like finish my like term papers. Mm-hmm. And then when I graduated, I was very confused on what the hell to do with my life because I had been very like my childhood was so structured. I was in gymnastics 16 hours a week. I did voice lessons, guitar lessons, piano lessons. I was in 3 plays a year. I was in several events with my performances that my family and I would put on because my family, my 2 sisters, my dad and I were in like our own a cappella group that we formed.
Obsessed.
So gay. So gay. No wonder we're gay. But I was very busy. So when I graduated from college in this abusive relationship, I was completely lost on what to do.
Yeah.
I'd never had to structure my own life before, which is like a huge wake up call when you're 22 to 23. And since the relationship got so bad, I ended up having to move back to Indiana because I couldn't leave her if I was in LA because I couldn't trust myself to, which also leads into the addiction thing because I was clearly addicted to her. So I started doing Adderall really heavily. And when I mean heavily, I don't mean like average. I mean like I'm taking 100 milligrams of Adderall a day.
That is insane.
Yeah. Like if I start with 10 on day 1, on day 3, I'm taking 80. Day 5, I'm taking 100.
Wow.
And I'm trying, and I can somehow still sleep because I'm exhausting myself that much by how much I'm putting in my body.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like right when I take it is when I want another because it's this feeling of, I'm okay right now. If I don't take another in an hour, I'm not going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Like I need to make sure I'm physically and emotionally okay. It's really mostly emotional.
Yeah. What feeling are you getting from taking?
Well, I have ADD, so I'm like naturally dopamine deficient. I'm also an addict, which just means I'm kind of craving that at all times. So I think once I take it and it gives me that dopamine and it gives me that like feeling of, oh, I can do this. I can. Cause, I just watched Inside Out 2. Let me have a nonsense. I'm sorry. I have ADD. I just watched Inside Out 2 and it builds the sense of self off of anxiety. And it basically like builds this sense of self where her sense of self says, I'm not good enough. And so like when I'm taking Adderall, I'm basically building my own personal sense of self off of something that just like keeps me going at that time rather than something that like I can build from the bottom and be happy in like a year from now. It's really something that's just letting me hold on to the right now and trying to keep me afloat each moment of every day. It's not like tomorrow I'm not going to be okay if I have a bunch of Adderall now and I don't have any tomorrow. I'm going to freak out tomorrow.
Yeah.
But as long as I have it right now, I'm going to be okay. And that's like, instant gratification is a huge issue with addicts because I'm always going to pick that. I'm always going to pick the dopamine now rather than knowing that I'll be happier next year if I work on maybe, I don't know, my job or working out or just my genuine sense of self. Like if I build this false sense of self, maybe I'll be okay today. Yeah. But at the end of the day, my sense of self is telling me I'm not good enough. And I remember telling my dad after really like feeling like, oh, this is not good, because Adderall makes me drink. Like if I take an Adderall, I'm drinking, like no matter what, because it gives me anxiety and I feel the need to suppress my anxiety with the alcohol. And then there's like a thing about how Adderall and alcohol is like the most fun combination.
Wow.
Because you feel like you have the energy, but you're suppressing your anxiety. So you're just so fun to be around. And I'm an extrovert, a huge extrovert. Love to party, love attention, which is fine. People should love attention. That's okay. It's okay to love attention. All right. But I found that kind of like recipe for me to feel like my best self. So whether or not, if I had a plan, if I had to be somewhere at 8 p.m., I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to take an Adderall at 6:30. I'm going to drink 2 drinks before I get to the event so that I can present as someone that people have this feeling when they're around, or know me as this person. So I could really like carve out the perception of other, like I could create my entire personality, even though it was not at all genuine or authentic. It was just how I thought I needed to be seen.
Wow.
And it was easy for me to like create the recipe and figure out when and what and how and how much. And if I could do that, then people would like me and I would be worthy. Wow. But when I realized I had a little bit of a problem with Adderall, I like told my dad. I was like, hey, I think that I have like an obsession with this drug that kind of makes me more motivated. And he was like, that sounds good. I was like, Buff, it's not feeling good.
Yeah.
It's not feeling good. Oh. So during around that time, which was like December 2017, I had a very crazy 2017. I told all my Adderall connections to stop selling to me. I was like, I am not okay. Like, I need you to stop selling to me. Do not answer if I text you.
That's a lot of willpower and awareness in the moment for you to like, that doesn't seem like a addict's behavior. Like, right. How do you think you got to that?
I actually remember the exact moment. I was sitting in my room listening to Burning by Sam Smith. Wow. Which happened to randomly be very like relatable and connected to the situation I was in. But I remember looking in the mirror and my eyes were bloodshot red. And I remember looking in the mirror, I was folding my laundry and I was like, oh no, I'm not okay. Like, I don't know who I am. I've lost my identity. Like, this is not Jenna. Like, how can I get back to who that was? And that's when I texted all of them really manically, like, don't let me do this anymore. I can't do this. Because I had tried relatively, like maybe even once every 2 weeks to just stop taking it. But it is such an aggressive come down when you're regularly taking like as much as I was taking. Like, you are so exhausted. You're like lethargic. Your dopamine is so low. You're just depressed. Like, you just need it. Like, you just feel like, oh my God, if I just took one right now, I would be okay. Yeah. So I would just keep doing that. And eventually I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know who I am. So I told all of my connects to stop selling, spent a couple weeks at home. And then when I got back, I was still working at the Whaler in Venice.
Oh, wow.
Which is snow heaven.
Yeah. For those who don't know, explain the Whaler.
The Whaler is this, like, I don't know, it's an old timey bar, double-decker bar in Venice that's like got a view of the beach. Yeah. And it's just, that whole area is just like covered in cocaine. Everyone on the West Side does cocaine. I would have people that like were my regulars come in and give me a bag, and I would do it downstairs. Yeah.
I have had that happen to me at a club before.
It's a thing.
In LA when I was working in the clubs.
Here's your tip. I'm like, okay, girl.
I did not feel that. I'm like, no, give me the money, motherfucker.
I'm like, give me the coke, motherfucker. I don't need your money. Give me your drugs. Yikes. And that's the addict in me. But yeah, so I ended up getting all of my Adderalls to stop selling to me. And then because I was feeling all of those withdrawal feelings, all of the lethargic feelings, everything that was just like making me so uncomfortable, I made a very enabling friend who was a terrible person. She ended up stealing a bunch of money from me. But like when you're in that situation and you want anyone to justify or enable your drug addiction, you'll become friends with anyone. You'll become friends with someone that is the worst person for you. And I made friends with this girl and we did coke every day, all day together.
Wow.
I started doing a bag a day, and turns out I would buy the bag. She would tell me how much the bag was. She was stealing $30 from me every time we bought a bag.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? And my ignorant ass was like, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Whatever she did didn't matter. Like, I didn't have a threshold for how my friends should treat me at that time. They could do whatever they wanted as long as they justified my drug addiction.
Yeah.
So I started doing drugs all the time. And that lasted only like 4 months because after a while I hit a wall, like a hard wall. And I relapsed on some things that I had just dealt with very rarely over the span of my life, that just really scared me. And that's when I called my dad and said, I'm not okay. I need to go to rehab. And I went to rehab.
What was the rehab experience like?
I would go again. I loved rehab. Everyone go to rehab. If you need to go to rehab, go to rehab. It was fabulous.
Wow.
Literally, like, I became like that girl in rehab that would be like, hi, like, I'm Jenna. You're going to love it here. What's your drug of choice? Like, and in the morning we do angel cards, and then we have... And then we have music, and then we get to paint our nails on Fridays. Like,
oh my
we don't
God.
get any sugar, but on Fridays they give us sugar-free ice cream.
The greeter, the welcome committee.
Literally, it was me. Like, we get to do puzzles on Wednesdays. Honestly, I loved rehab. I'm so happy I went. It changed my entire life.
What does your life look like in rehab?
In rehab, you wake up at 7. You cannot miss anything in rehab. If you go to rehab and you're in like inpatient rehab, which is like, obviously they give you like a bed with a roommate, you're not allowed to miss anything. Like, you can't come late to anything. They're going to wake you up on your floor. It's very like, it's kind of like college, but for drug addicts.
Wow.
So when I got there, I was like, this is the first time I've ever met anyone like me, because my immediate family, not drug addicts. No one in my school. Like, I was in the tracking system growing up very heavily. Like, I was always in the top of the class. I was in ALPS, like advanced placement. And then I was in honors. And then I was in AP. And then I went to a good school. And so I never felt like anyone was like me in that way. And I was just not in the environment where people were open about making mistakes like that, or like being in a situation like that. Like, if I was in the tracking system in college, for example, like, cocaine was normal. It wasn't like, oh, someone's going too far. It was like, of course we're doing coke. We're at a frat party. What do you expect?
Right.
But to me, I'm like, I'm going to go till 11 a.m. and then ask for another bag. Everyone else is like, oh, we're so frivolous and fun. I'm like, no. Like, I'm not normal like that. So when I met people that were not normal like me, I was just, I remember crying for the first like full week, just being like, wow, I've never been so seen. Like, everyone was like me. Someone that just begins and doesn't know where the end is and just can't stop. And now that I'm in the world after rehab, knowing, I know, I clock them, I see them, they're everywhere. They're still everywhere. And it's okay. I'm never judging them. I mean, shit, I'm doing the same thing. And it's a really hard battle to constantly be fighting every single day, but it's rampant in the community.
I could see how that could be so healing. It's kind of very similar to the gay experience when you grow up in a place where like you don't see gay, and then you come to a place like LA and you're like, oh my God, we're fucking everywhere. And now you're looking back home and you're going, yeah, and you're gay and you're gay and I see you. You're gay too. Yeah.
You're so right.
It's so similar.
That's exactly how it was.
And that's so healing. That's like a path to being like, okay, wait, I can love myself. You feel like normal.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. And also something I'm tracking is that you talked about structure and how you really lacked like being able to create your own structure. And so rehab sounds like a lot of like, here's how you live a structured life.
Yeah, it was exactly that. And like, I didn't have any structure for so long because I didn't know how to structure myself or self-motivate because of my ADD or because of my dopamine deficiency. So I would just party trying to like keep myself afloat. But when I got to rehab and they would say, wake up at 7, do this at this time, I was eating 3 meals a day for the first time since college.
Jesus.
And that was 3 years after college. And that was also the time that I was growing my prefrontal cortex. So my brain was forming as I was learning in rehab that I was codependent. I needed DBT. I needed like literally, there was so much I was learning about myself.
Yeah.
Not just that I was an addict, but like anxious attachment, such intense anxious attachment. And that's how my relationships always ended in an anxious avoidant trap where I was like constantly just begging someone to fill me in a way that they couldn't. So like that I figured out. Codependence I figured out, which was a huge one because I'm incredibly codependent. There's so many things that I learned about myself that I didn't have the ability to know before. There was just no way I could have known. So when I finally got to know, that's when I began the like self-introspection that has created who I am today and how I possibly could know myself today and know, for example, that now that I'm in a secure relationship and I know that I'm anxious and I've always been anxiously attached, that when she asked for healthy space, even though I want to die and say, I need you to love me and love bomb me, and I need you to need me at all times, I should be okay with that.
Yes.
And that it's probably good if we take that space.
Yes.
And you do love me, even though I think that you hate me.
Yes.
So
Great way of putting it.
right. Doing my best.
What do you think was the best part? And what are like the biggest lessons you took away from rehab?
I became really good friends with two older women. By older, I mean like 60s. And it was really cool because in rehab, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to cuss. I'm going to talk about sex. I'm going to be gay. I'm going to do what I'm in rehab. Like, you aren't going to judge me. If you're judging me, Karen, back the fuck off. You're here too. Okay. So I became really good friends with Karen and Debbie. Unfortunately, Debbie passed away from the disease.
Oh.
But I became really good friends with like a completely different generation. And I found a lot of happiness in games. Again, just like different little things that I didn't realize would give me just as much dopamine as what I've been using as like faux dopamine for so long.
Wow.
Like we played Cranium. Have you guys played Cranium in a while? Because that shit slaps. Okay. That is the funnest game ever. We did puzzles. We would every morning we had group therapy for 4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
It would be 9 of us in a room with one counselor, and we would go hours and hours, and we had to do step one, which was like 20 pages of the beginning of your life until where you are today and how it all happened. A lot of people's were really, really, really sad. I mean, oh my God, I've never been so like humbled in my life about how much privilege I really do have.
Wow.
A lot of people had kids that they had lost and just had stolen so much money from a loved one because they were so deeply affected by like meth or heroin. I was so lucky that I never started or tried any of those drugs. But it was just very, very nice to realize that like, no matter who is in your corner, you could have like such deep interconnected conversations. And like group therapy, I mean, that's it, dude. Group therapy. Speaking, like I come home from that experience and then finally moved back to LA. And all I really do with my friends now is hang out and talk about our feelings and our lives and how we could improve them, or maybe just cry to each other for a little bit. Like I have never felt more secure and safe than just being actually genuinely honest with my friends.
Wow.
And that's how I feel like that experience in rehab taught me that genuine self-introspection and real authenticity and not lying. Like, not that I was like aggressively lying before I went to rehab, but like I was withholding a lot of information. And now that like after rehab, I felt this need to tell the absolute truth, no matter what. Like if I'm 20 minutes away, I'm gonna tell you I'm 20 minutes away.
Wow.
If I'm
it is so interesting that like those little things that we do feel so comfortable just being like, oh yeah, like I'm on my way. No, I'm still sitting here in bed, you know?
The little white lies are what I had to like test myself on. Like no more of that, because if you let yourself do that, you'll let yourself say something else. And like I've become so authentic. And if I don't do that, then I don't feel like myself. Like I have to just force myself to, and it scares you at first. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm an oversharer. I have ADD and I'm an extrovert. Like, honey, I'm an oversharer as fuck. But in general, like oversharing and being super, super, super authentic and like very, very myself, it still makes me feel like my sense of self is strong and like I can be that person and I trust that person, because if I'm lying to someone, I can't trust me.
Yeah.
My biggest trust issue with people I date, people around me, is mostly because I don't trust me.
Wow.
It's a projection. I've been projecting on everyone.
Wow.
Forever. And I didn't know that until rehab.
I might go to rehab. This place sounds like,
Go.
wow.
Oh my God, honey, it's the best.
You're going to learn so much.
Yeah, you'll love it. Honestly, 10 out of 10 experience. Would go again. Hopefully not, though.
What did your life look like after rehab?
So after rehab, I actually moved to Oregon for like a whole year. I decided to go free from drugs and alcohol and everything for a full year. And then I got cast on Are You the One? And was like, oh. Mm-hmm. And kind of immediately I knew that I wasn't going to be sober for that. Like that wasn't going to be an experience. But I decided if drinking made me feel like I was going to do drugs again, like I was going to quit, because this isn't something that I like fuck around with. I had a little bit of a rough time while Are You the One was coming out, because it was so much energy. It was a lot of excessive dopamine when all of a sudden maybe a few people know who you are. You feel like you're cool for a second. I was a Z-list celebrity for like 2 months. Fuck off, Mitchell. Yeah, it was really exciting. No, but like the energy of it was it gave me the feeling that drugs give you. I mean, it's the same thing, like words of affirmation, excessive attention. It's the same kind of it's the same kind of vibe as an upper. So for a while, I made it through. I had some relapses on cocaine. A lot of addicts have relapse is a part of most people's story. I felt at first, I just needed to keep reminding myself that if I kept it in, I was going to keep doing it. I needed to tell people. So like if I did have a bad relapse, I woke up and called my sister. Like, wow, I did this. I just want to let you know. And she would come over and like give me so much love. And it was so, I mean, my sister Lily is the best person I've ever met. My sister Lauren let me live with her after rehab for like 6 months with her husband. And then my sister Lily has been a pioneer of my recovery forever. I mean, they're the most supportive people I've ever met. I'm so lucky. I'll call them and be like, I'm really trying. And I'm sobbing and they're like, you're doing the best you can and you can do it. I believe in you. And when I don't believe in me, it's really beautiful when someone that I love more than anyone in the world tells me that you can do it.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. Over the years, it's been kind of up and down. After a few issues in 2020, I pretty much was good for another like 3 years. Last year, I had a really, really hard time. It's always June. It's June.
Interesting.
Fuck June, first of all. Fuck Pride. I mean, Okay, I love being gay. Being gay is my favorite part about me. It is who I am to my core. I am a gay bitch. I love it. But June is the hardest month for any addict ever, because the community is so alcohol centered. Not just alcohol, but it's drug and alcohol centered. Like there's maybe 3 events that are popular that are like not alcohol centered. It's like Queer Field Day, Couplet Coffee, which is very rare, and like marmalade events. I mean, almost everything is just, especially starting in June. I mean, June
we
is
are
just
prepping in May for June.
Yeah,
we wake up on June 1st.
From August to fully May 31st. Yeah, and then I'm like, here we go. Yeah, June
you wake 2nd. Up and you
wake up and you're like,
go.
Oh fuck. But yeah, June's always really, really hard, and I'm sure that it's most addicts that in the queer community that struggle with June, July, and August. I mean, the whole summer is very difficult. But
LA specifically can be really tough too, because it is just kind of a thing in LA. Like drugs are just around and they're there and you're kind of used to it. And it's really easy to become callous to things like that. I had a friend come and visit from Texas, and she's like a straight friend from Texas. And she came and I took her to a party, and people are just like doing acid and, you know, like cokes around. And it's just like, it's so normal to me.
Exactly.
And I didn't even realize how not normal it was until that moment when she was like, whoa, okay. She was like a bit overwhelmed. And I was like, oh, wow. Like this world's kind of not like the rest of the world.
Yeah. You're so right though, because like, it's not just like, obviously there's a correlation between trauma and addiction, but so like the queer community is correlated with trauma. So like there's already queer experience with drugs and alcohol. There's already like an elevated experience with drugs and alcohol in the queer community. And then there's the Los Angeles. Yeah. Los Angeles is its own fucking beast.
Yeah.
LA in general is way, like, I didn't know what ecstasy was until I moved out here.
They don't
I
do that in
didn't even
Oregon,
know what
in
cocaine
Indiana.
was. We didn't do shit. We went to the like lake and like drank, we would smoke, what are those cigarettes that were like really gross? Black and Mild. We smoked Black and Milds and drank fucking UV blue.
Oh.
There was that one that was like Everclear.
Oh,
Everclear
God,
and
Jenna,
Gatorade.
Jesus Christ. Everclear and Gatorade?
Everclear and Gatorade.
That's psycho.
Black and Milds and the ones that you ice people. Oh, Smirnoff Ice.
Smirnoff Ice, yeah.
And then I moved out here and I was like, there's drugs everywhere.
It's just a different world. There's just opportunity everywhere. For it.
And so if you go out like regularly at these places where everyone's enabling you, everyone's going to have those drugs that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So I so understand why Texas Girl was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. What the fuck is this?
What is this? Where are we? What the hell? Jesus Christ. These lesbians are crazy.
How have you figured out how to manage going out and still having this addict part of you?
I genuinely think that it's an ongoing battle. I think I wake up every day remembering and knowing that I'm an addict, because I think as an addict, there's kind of like a never-ending void that you have inside of yourself. It's kind of just like an insatiable hole that you can never fill. So I think waking up every day and having to choose your battles. Like, for example, if I know, like last weekend, I knew that there would probably be Coke at a specific party. I had to just not go to the party, because if I go to the party and it's out and there's lines, I cannot trust myself. I can't trust myself not to do it.
Yeah.
In terms of cocaine or drugs, I have to be way more careful than the average person. Like, I cannot be going to a party with a bunch of that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. And in general too, like, it's really lovely to have a partner that really understands and that I can like feel seen by in this way. My girlfriend isn't an alcoholic or an addict, but she's very empathetic and she understands like maybe I need a little bit of extra love in certain categories, because like it's just really, really difficult for me to say no to things.
Yeah.
Like last weekend, I was with my girlfriend and we went out on Friday and it was so fun. We had a great time. And then on Saturday, we were invited to 3 different parties and we looked at each other and we were like, let's do facials. Let's do facials and fuck. Great idea. And then we just stayed home the whole night. So it's just, you just kind of have to like be really careful. You have to connect with other people that have this kind of issue, because if you don't, you still feel just as alone. And if you feel alone, that's kind of the biggest problem. A lot of addicts and alcoholics, their biggest fear and their biggest feeling and that insatiable void feels like, oh, I'm alone. No one understands me. I'm misunderstood. I'm by myself. Like, everyone else gets to do this while I have to do this. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest issues with feeling like the black sheep in your family, or the one in the relationship that just can't go to the party if there's drugs there. Like, it feels isolating and it feels like you're getting ostracized from the friend group, especially if the friend group, even if some of them clearly need to be on your page, are not on your page, you still feel like, oh, like I'm the only one in this scenario and I'm the problem, or I'm the one that like people have to think about or deal with. Like, thankfully, I have incredible, incredible friends like this one that sent me a letter when I was in rehab and has always been so aggressively there for me every time. Like, if I'm at a party and there's like Coke and like I like look at them, they'll be like, do you need me? Like I'll yell at someone. They'll like literally go like fucking ready to punch someone that's about to give me a drug. Like they will literally, like people will fight for me because I will tell them, this is how I feel. This is what I'm dealing with. And they will know exactly how to react because we're like fully authentic with each other. So I just kind of have to take it day by day now. I'm currently casually drinking. If I feel that I'm getting uncomfortable with drugs again, I'll cut it out.
Yeah.
I'll stop again. I'll take more time. It's really just about like everyone's relative experiences, everyone's subjective experiences. Like what you need is what you need. And as long as you're genuine and like you have people that you can pull in and you can tell them how you're genuinely feeling, then like you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You just can't keep it from everyone and hold it to yourself. Because when I've been the worst, when I've really been at my worst, last September, I almost died. That was my worst. I didn't tell anyone anything for several months. And I'd say that moment was like a huge turning point because it reminded me once again, you are not in this alone. Whether or not you are doing this alone, whether or not this is something that you only feel, maybe this is something that is specific to you. Maybe this insatiable void that you feel is specific to you. That doesn't mean that other people can't empathize with it. That doesn't mean that other people can't hold you while you're dealing with it and hug you and tell you it's going to be okay, because it's going to be okay. Yeah. As long as you believe it's going to be okay.
It's such a testament to all the work that you've done that you have so many people in your life that are around you that will do that for you and that you feel that safety with, especially in a romantic partner.
I love my girlfriend. We're brand new. We're brand new. We're brand new. We're brand spanking new, honey. We're brand new. And I love the shit out of this girl.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah, she's wonderful. And then I've realized that like there's a lot of dopamine driven activities that are completely unrelated to drugs and people and romantic relationships. Like I've become a yoga instructor. I'm obsessed. Like working out excessively. I mean, not too much because I'm an addict. I can do anything too much. Too much is like my favorite word. But yeah, like I'm a yoga instructor. I've found like so much power in my routine. Like as someone that has ADD and is trouble with self-motivation or like trouble with like structure, I've become like the ultimate cleaner. I love a clean house.
Wow.
Gray will tell you this. I love like a good quality structure to my life. I love a routine. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy spending time with very specific people. Like I like choosing the people, choosing the time. Like I no longer spend time with NPCs.
Important.
I'm over spending my entire afternoon speaking to random strangers at a bar, trying to fill my time with like just some kind of fulfillment when it's not fulfilling whatsoever.
Yeah.
I want to spend a game night with my best friends, having the time of my life and giving me like genuine, like true support and happiness. And I can tell them exactly how I feel. I'm like, I did this crazy thing last night. And they're like, I so see you. I feel you as you should, queen. And I'm like, thank you. You know, just like, I feel very seen by the people that I surround myself with now. And I'm realizing that the smaller my group, the more myself I am. The smaller my group, like the more comfortable I can be.
Yeah.
Because it's like genuine and it's no longer some kind of facade or like now I'm timing out that at 8 p.m. I'm going to be this for these people. Who are these people?
Yeah.
Who are those people? The people that I'm surrounding myself with, the people that I genuinely care about, they already know. They already know that I'm struggling. They already know what I'm struggling with. So it's kind of nice to just be like, let it go. Shrug it off.
Yeah.
You have these issues. Everybody's got character defects. Fuck it. At least you know what they are.
True. You're ahead of the game.
Yeah. Period.
What advice would you give to someone who is struggling with this, or maybe they're sober curious?
If you feel that you're struggling with this, you already know that it's time to try to stop for a little bit. If you feel that you are having a relationship with drugs or alcohol that you feel like you might not be in charge of anymore and that they might be in charge of you, then it's time to cut it. Even if it's just for a week, even if it's just for 2 weeks, see how you feel. Because chances are after 4 or 5 days, you'll feel like a different person. You'll feel like yourself. You'll feel like maybe you have a different outlook on life for like a little bit. You don't have to force yourself to think about the rest of your life that way. If I think about the rest of my life doing absolutely nothing, I'll have a fucking meltdown. I'll have a panic attack. If I think about today, I'm not going to do any of this just to see how I feel. Tomorrow, I'll do the same thing. Maybe I wake up on Thursday and I feel the same way. Like, do what you need that day. If you feel that you're uncomfortable with your relationship with these things, take a second. Don't judge yourself if you jump back into it. Find people that you feel similarly to. Find people that also want the same thing. Like when I post, oh, I'm dealing with this, I'm going to a meeting right now on Instagram, DMs are flooded.
Wow.
Because a lot of people don't post like genuine authenticity that are like, oh, I'm struggling with this on Instagram. I mean, everyone's life looks so curated and perfect.
Yeah.
So when I finally do say something like, oh, I'm actually not doing well, like this is how I'm doing, flooded. I'm telling you, like everyone is struggling right now because, I mean, Earth sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Earth sucks. Politics suck. There's so much going on right now. A lot of things are overwhelming. Social media is creating a completely polarized world. But as long as you like connect with someone that feels similarly, talk to someone about it. Like DM me. I'll fucking DM you back. Like, I'll tell you what it's like. It sucks, but we can go to AA together or NA or whatever. Like, it's really not the end of the world. And remembering it's not your fault. It's a disease. It is not your fault.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being willing to share.
Of course.
Okay, I know this has all felt like a therapy session.
I love therapy.
That's why I love doing this. Because I'm like, I just feel like I'm having a therapy session every episode.
Incredible.
But I want to know, what are you actually working on in therapy right now?
Oh my God, honey, so much. My therapist, Zulika, is literally such a bad bitch. Right now, I'm dealing with my attachment to Brooke and my financial insecurities.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I've never had money. I've never grown up with money. I don't have money. And I tend to find girlfriends that do. And I think I get really, really in my head, especially because like of history with different girlfriends or having like judgments against my lack thereof money. And so I've been really struggling with like the idea that like I might have to tell her that I don't have that much money. I want her to think that like she wants to marry me and I'm going to have all this money for our wedding and our house. And I don't.
Oh, girl, I got to tell you a story.
Really?
Oh my God. When I met Mathilde, I had quit my corporate job. I'd been working in corporate for like 5 years and I got laid off during COVID. And I was like, I promised myself I will never go back. So I was at like 28. I went back to the clubs to do bottle service, which is like, humbling. And I was like, oh man, this is tough. And LA is fucking expensive. I was struggling my ass off and oh God, those conversations were tough. And then I got a toll tag bill for like, I had toll tags from Texas for like $1,200 that I was like panicking about. Girl, I had to be like,
do you know how much I owe on taxes?
And I hadn't done my taxes in 4 years.
Give me a hug right now.
I know. We are a lot alike.
Oh my God, we're kicking it. We're kicking it.
I know, we're more alike than you think.
Girl.
And I had to be like, babe, I have a baby. And Mathilde was like, you need to do your taxes. You need to pay your toll tags. It was like militant. I was like, oh my God.
I need a militant. Wait, I think
but
I
I'm
have
still
one.
around.
Oh my God, a militant girlfriend. Yes. Brooke, help. Help
Just
me.
tell her. It's actually, she like helped me. She was like, okay, you have to do these things. And it like motivated me.
You're
and
right.
now
You feel
credit
better?
score is good. My taxes are paid.
Your taxes are paid.
Toll tags done. I can drive in Texas again.
Oh my God, shut up. It's
great.
Dude, me and Brooke, okay, I finally was like, okay, baby, I need to tell you something. Like, I need to tell you something. I'm feeling really insecure about my financial situation. And we like got a margarita and like, we like talked about it and I was like crying to her. And then I was like, let's go karaoke. And then
No, we are not talking about finances.
I tell you to let me be. Immediately after telling her I was broke. I was like, you know what? Let's sing Adele and let me just sing to you One and Only.
Iconic.
So that you will love me and only me and my lack thereof bank account.
You know what? We bring a lot of other things to the table.
We bring everything to the table.
you.
First of all,
Amen.
we are the exciting moment in their lives. I love you, Matilda, but Mel, bad bitch.
Oh God, you'll get through it. Honesty is key, I promise.
Okay. See? Honesty. Authenticity.
And on that note, we play a game.
Okay.
It's called You Haul or You Ghost.
U-Haul. I mean, yes. Let's play.
Okay, she's perfect in every way, but she starts decorating for Halloween in August.
U-Haul.
No, this is an ick for me.
Really?
This is an ick for me.
My girlfriend and I spend all day talking about what we should be for Halloween. We think we're going to be Lola and Jay from Big Mouth. But yeah,
You're a
who cares?
Halloween girl.
I mean, I'm not a Halloween girl. I like to be sexy and get hot and wear a wig. But I mean, August isn't that far away from October. Like if she starts in February, maybe
August, September, October. Halloween is at the end of
September,
October.
That's 2 months. 2 months.
Bitch, that's 3
Barely.
months.
Well,
You walk in and there's spider webs and spiders and orange and black everywhere.
I mean, orange is the new black.
Okay, whatever. I'm ghosting.
Okay.
Oh, like Halloween.
Ghosting. I'm dead.
Okay. You match on an app and she immediately wants to talk on the phone. No, not talk on the phone, FaceTime.
Like immediately.
Yeah, immediately. She's FaceTiming. Actually,
Okay, I find that's a little bit icky because I'm like, you do that to everyone then. You don't want to text first, get to know me a little bit. Like if you're really just FaceTiming every girl you match with, that's kind of weird, right?
It's icky.
Yeah. I'm not against a thirsty bitch. I'm personally a thirsty bitch. Always have been, always will be. But I do think, that's a little bit weird.
Yeah, there's an art to this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like game playing. It's just don't. Yeah, I don't like it. I'm ghosting.
Yeah, I'm ghosting that. I'm ghosting.
What about this one? She sexts you right after a first date.
Duh. Fuck yeah. That's
my
me.
God,
I'm doing that.
Jenna!
Girl, what do you mean? The first date is where you set the tone for sexuality. The first date I went on with my girlfriend now, we weren't gonna hook up on our first date, but we obviously dry humped 16-year-olds. And then after, obviously she texts me and she's like, oh my God, I'm wet. And I'm like, oh my God, me too. And then I would have just kept going and been until completion by myself at home. But yeah, I don't think that's weird at all. I would totally do that. But I'm also a very sexual person.
Change my frame of mind around this.
Go for it. Why not?
Okay. What if she has to read erotica out loud to get in the mood? Every time.
Every time?
Every single time. You're you are reading a book.
Okay, is it a book or can I have written it? Did I write it?
I guess you could write erotica, but it has to be erotica. No, it's something that somebody else read because I feel you could write good erotica and a lot of it's shitty and cheesy.
You're so right. Well, I'm all for some freaky kinks.
Yeah.
I really am. And I've been really
kink shame.
I've been really opening my world recently to some freakier kinks that I thought I would never touch. And now we're really touching them. But this one I would say is a little weird. Not that it I would be down for that in general, but not every time.
Yeah.
I'd probably still U-Haul though. Knowing me.
All right, I love it.
I love a fantasy.
Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, JennaBree25, Jenna. What the fuck am I saying it like this? Jenna, BRE25. Okay, you know what? Whatever. And then I do TikTok, JennaBree325, I think. Okay, so my OnlyFans, I just restarted my OnlyFans just because you know what?
We have to pay our taxes. I know why you just started your OnlyFans, and I support it.
Thank you. And my girlfriend's actually it was so cute the other day. The reason I stopped my OnlyFans 3 years ago was because my girlfriend was like, don't do that. And then this time my girlfriend was like, babe, this would be really cute on OnlyFans. I was like, baby, you're so sweet.
So supportive.
So supportive. What a sweet, sweet, sweet supportive girly pop. So yeah, my OnlyFans is Lesbian Slytherin.
Love. Check it out. Okay. On that note, cheers. What are we cheersing to?
Credit scores.
Credit score.
Credit scores and bad bitches.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. As always, help us spread the gay agenda by writing an Apple review, rating us on Spotify, and sharing it with everyone you've ever met. Made It Out is produced and edited by Matilde Jordan and worked on solely by lesbians.
The sex is so good. She's so fucking crazy. Who cares? Let's scissor.